Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Another great day of Call of Duty action with many storylines coming out of this stuff once again. Intriguing your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you were new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Let us just dive right in. Firstly, this I thought for the Paris region, maybe a little bit risky in terms of drawing the line between what is, well, overly offensive, let's just say this. But again, new S&D cutscene looks different at, say, Paris region. Up to it, well, here comes Formal and Scump out. And of course, they had a pretty good performance today up against the Paris Legion, as we will dive into here in just a few minutes' time. This, well, formally replies here, they love me, they just love me, and Arcitys in a reply as well. All pretty interesting stuff. But game one of the day was Toronto Ultra versus the London Royal Ravens. I mean, just to touch on that whole formal stuff just again, because, I mean, Paris have been doing so much stuff in terms of tweeting the last few days. They've thrown out so many shots that I guess some of them were eventually bound to land, at least in terms of getting some traction. At the very least, maybe they went a little bit far on this one. People were certainly arguing that in the replies. But here we go. The whammy from Cammy in this game number one. And this is, honestly, these series went pretty much as expected, but still, a lot of interesting moments. London looked like they had a chance in a couple of these maps, but well, certainly this game one, that was not the case. They get completely bodied. This is a very good map, of course, for the Toronto Ultra here on that Garrison hardpoint. They're so good at it, and London aren't too bad at it either, but it's still not necessarily a map I don't think that you want to be playing Toronto on, but they are very good at hardpoint, all things considered. Regardless, this then was the search and destroy. London early on went up 2-1, then Paul got this incredible 1v3, gets this kill on the bomb, finds the last two as well to clutch up a 1v3, which really gives London a great advantage. But the problem with London is that every single time they get an advantage, you always feel like they're going to find a way to throw it away, right? And you feel kind of the same with Seattle, to be honest. And I don't know, I feel this a lot with some of these teams, that the lower tier squads, that not only are they losing quite a lot of maps, but also when they actually do have the opportunity to win one, it doesn't go their way. And PaulX does win this 1v1, but still, the very final round, there were some crazy plays that came out of the Toronto Ultra. So I'll just fast forward this to see where Paul actually does finally pick up the kill and get the job done in the round. I guess we'll just rewind for 1 second. Well, okay, hang on a second here. Here we go. Here's the kill coming up. Here we go. He shoots him in the back, gets the job done. But still, the very final round, Bance went massive actually. So, okay, round 11, they get the job done in the end, do the Toronto Ultra guys. And yeah, London lose this one. And you feel like at that point, the momentum is fully in the favour of the Ultra. And London, I mean, you can kind of see on their faces here, it felt like the series at this point was pretty much done. And indeed it is. I mean, Garrison Control, this is a map that Toronto Ultra really do not lose unless it's to Atlanta FaZe. They take the job down on this one again. Some streaks coming in at the crucial moment for Bance. And yeah, Ravens in this European derby, I suppose, between the actual European team in Toronto, where all European players, up against the Royal Ravens right now. It's an Ultra that come out on top significantly. Big bounce back for them, certainly in their group, because their group is not easy by any means. They need to win every single series they play after their loss on the very first week to the Florida Mutineers, as we did discuss last time round. But also, you know, New York Sullivan's, of course, in their group looking good. Dallas Empire play New York tomorrow. That is certainly going to be an exciting one. And it's Benjamin Bance, European Ultra on top, 1.46 overall KD. Just remarkable stuff from this team. I mean, they look continually so good. And well, they should get a good job done here to get out in the winners bracket for their group. But it's still not going to be so easy. That group is very slack down there in B. Let's talk about the second series of the day then. A few interesting storylines came out of this, most certainly. That was OpTic Chicago versus the Paris Legion. Scump was the game fuel feature player, and for good reason. He had a phenomenal series here up against the guys over at the Paris Legion. Game one was very close indeed. I was really interested to see how this would go, right? Because OpTic have been looking really good, well, of course, as of late against the teams that aren't the top teams in the game. They have a pretty much undefeated record against teams like Paris Legion. I'm pretty sure they're 8-0 against the bottom 4 teams in the league, so you'd expect them to come out and win this. But this game one was close. I mean, obviously, not been the greatest map for OpTic, all things considered, so far this season, this Garrison hardpoint. Paris have been pretty solid at it, even though they did get crushed on it by the Minnesota Rokkr not too long ago, I believe. So still, a little bit up and down either way. But at the same time, if Paris had won this, it's actually been Paris that have looked really good lately in their search and destroy. So I thought it could be very interesting indeed. But also OpTic are very good on standoff search and destroy, as we continue to see. But yes, massive clutch from the OpTic guys to win this 250 to 240 down to the wire, this game number one. And then, well, as you can see his tweet out right here, this was a reaction, I think, to that first game where the guys are getting pretty hyped up, and Center comes in to give the boys some, well, fist bumps and all that type of stuff after they managed to take down the map win and get the job done in the end. I mean, yeah, this is how it goes, of course, here at the Hex Quarters, where the guys are playing. This game 2 then was where things got pretty interesting indeed. This kill was just ridiculous on Rokkr. Don't know how he got away with that one exactly. Scump, of course, was there for the help. And this was a standoff search and destroy where, once again, OpTic looked very, very solid indeed. Envoy gets the timing, still finds a way to get the kill. OpTic move up 4-0 right here, but for a couple of rounds in a row, Envoy was having some sort of issue where he couldn't change class, right, as Hex talks about in a second. So they were able to request a timeout, which is pretty rare to see, right? We see this timeout thing come along from time to time, where timeout actually this time was requested, and then after the round it got paused. The funny thing really about this was they fixed the issue or whatever it happened to be with Envoy, and that all got resolved and everything. They were ready to go again. And interesting really the fact that this is a relatively new glitch. I'm not really sure what's going on. Hex does talk about it here, still can't change classes these last 2 rounds. So they fixed the issue. Another glitch here on Standoff Search and Destroy. Last time we saw that Dashy got stuck in his start screen. It was also on Standoff Search and Destroy when OpTic were playing. So not sure really what it is with OpTic and getting these glitches every single time. But they figure out the issue for whatever reason, whatever exactly it happened to be. And then they get back into the game and Paris win a round. I mean, it was a nice little 1v1 clutch actually. They came out from Temp versus Scump. Looks like Scump was going to take it, but her Temp manages to find a way over the line. And then Paris win another round. But then for whatever reason, they just completely cut out and everyone just stands still. As Sexist Formal says right here, all the 4 Parisian guys in Sport, while the OpTic guys are trying to do one of their, well, default setups, I suppose, over towards this B-bomb site, watching the cross to A, all that type of good stuff. So they end up, despite actually the timeout feature being used to great effect, they for whatever reason have to completely restart the game at a 4-1 advantage for the OpTic guys, and while they managed to find a way to close this one out. 5-2 right here. I'm not really sure why the CDL stream can't just overlay it up top, because when we were doing that PlayStation stream that you guys may have been tuning into a couple of days ago, they were able to, with really no issues at all, just overlay the actual score over the top of the ones right here. But for whatever reason, the CDL have to put this little thing up on the left-hand side, which, you know, it's not exactly ideal. I suppose it gets the job done, but it's still maybe not quite where you would expect, I would say, for a professional league of this caliber. But still, OpTic Chicago get the job done, pauses, restarts, and bugs aside. Up 2-0, they go in the series. Then it gets pretty interesting though, right, because they go into a raid control. This is a very good map for OpTic usually, but Legion find their way over the line in this one in a 3-1 fashion. That is impressive stuff from them, certainly, because typically when OpTic go up 2-0, you'd feel very confident in them closing out the series without too much issue. But Paris certainly put up a good fight right here. They win at least 1 map in this series, and if I'm OpTic, I'm maybe a little bit concerned the fact that I've lost this. I'm trying to get back to some decent form on raid control. Couldn't find it the other day up against Atlanta FaZe, of course, but then the final map of the series, this actually happened that Jacob Watson points out right here, with you can see the OpTic guys once again pausing here on this rotation, because we saw the other day Envoy was talking about the fact that there's something wrong with their internet line where they will just pause for like 10 seconds. Now, they've got to figure this out quickly, right? Because you can imagine if it wasn't in a series like this, I mean, you can see the guys are straight up freezing right here, giving the Parisian guys a perfect opportunity to hit this rotation. And if this didn't happen, well, if this happened in a big moment against like a big team, then, well, you might actually have a significant problem on your hands right here. But it does fix itself for the OpTic guys in the end. Still not exactly the ideal start to this map, but they get over the line in the end. Scump has an absolutely phenomenal series right here, all things considered, but also has a phenomenal finish to this map. You can see he's getting hyped, and we'll look at the clip in just a second that he tweeted out after the fact of him getting pretty hyped against that, well, killing Donny, that being Temp, of course, and then finishing off the series as well. So massive win for OpTic right here, 3-1 victory over the Parisian. They sit now 2-1 in their group. Good spot for them, of course, after their defeat the other day against Atlanta FaZe, which certainly was not too ideal. This is the clip that Scump tweets out after the fact. I thought I'd just share this on screen for you guys of Scump getting hyped, of course, in this online environment. We're going to see this in just a couple of weeks, I imagine, in the LAN environment in Texas.
Can I get a friend? Don't one help, okay? Yeah.
No, lay down left, oh my God, Don!
I need it left. Let's get left.
Yo, back up.
Yo, you could have spawned. I'm playing like you did.
I'm team shiny glass, dude.
Yo, one more glass.
Don, absolute glass.
I'm trying to get time.
He's left side.
I got one more. I got 2.
Alright, let's jump.
Gotta be Eskies.
Nice!
Nice!
Let's go.
Holy shit, they got fucking work.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
In terms of overall statistics, these were the updated ones. Scump had a 1.38. There were so many issues getting these stats out for the Search and Destroy because there was 2 halves of it. The control, they didn't put the score, but it took us ages to get everything ready behind the scenes. Finally, we got it there. Dashy has a 1.14, a 1.24, so plus 14. Scump with a 1.38, and Formula and Envoy kind of doing their thing and getting the job done here up against the Parisian. So very impressive series from Scump. This is just remarkable stuff, and look how similar the damage here actually is between Dashy and well, Scump. And to be fair to Temp, he actually had 14,700 damage despite a 0.95 KD. I remember actually in Black Ops 4, it was always Temp that was pumping out crazy amounts of damage despite not necessarily always winning the series. As Formal says, GG Paris, we won 3-1. The funny thing about this was that Kenny actually came out and liked this tweet again, and as Formal says right here, Kenny, we talked about the other day, the fact that Kenny tends to like Formal's tweets and the other way around when they both lose series. This time around, he says, like, just smoked you at your own game. And as Formal says, I was laughing because Kenny favorited my tweet when we won. He knows it's just a troll back and forth all this time. type of good stuff. Let's talk about then about the final series of the day. This was, of course, Minnesota Rokkr versus the Seattle Surge. And this is like, I'm getting frustrated with Seattle at this point just because of how predictable they are. They did win a map in this series, to be fair, but just every single time you just know they're going to lose in some way or another. And the problem with them is that they are on their control loss streak is outrageous. The last time they won a control was the last time they won a series, which was way back on, I'm pretty sure, April the 8th, which is almost 2 months ago, is the last time they won a control, and that was the last time they won a series up against the Florida Mutineers back then. They're now on like a 10 loss streak, maybe an 11 loss streak. It's just looking absolutely woeful. I think at one point they were like 4-8 in terms of series counts. Now they're like 4-18 or something just dreadful. I mean, yeah, here they are against Minnesota Rokkr. Yes, Rokkr are solid. They do win the map one, to be fair, just Seattle Surge, and for some reason they never tweet out any clips, so this is the only one I could get here from the Rokkr guys' socials when Standy had a nice little play, but well, doesn't help them in the end. But then the game 2 bounce back on raid, and we saw this, right, the fact that early season Seattle Surge were pretty good at this map doesn't happen towards the latter half of the year. They're just, well, they're somehow getting worse on this. Trey's not quite there. Maniac making some crazy plays actually to help them close out this game. And then we go into this control. Honestly, I didn't want to put the gameplay up on screen because it was just too brutal to watch at times. But to be fair, Seattle actually did take it down to the wire. But I mean, again, the final round, the fact that it just goes on to defense, and every single time, like, Seattle makes some really, like, crazy plays on their offenses. I don't really know what they're trying to do at times. They had 2 over towards B, very much staggered pushes. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on in their camp right now. And they're talking about positive vibes and stuff, but it's got to be tough to uphold that mentality when you're in a situation like this. Their last win, April the 8th versus Florida, 10 game control losing streak, and then of course being a 10 series losing streak as well now for the Seattle Surge. And then they go into the final map of the series and lose that again. We I think it was a checkmate hardpoint actually that finished off the job. And these are in terms of the statistics right here. This is the discussion the entire season with Seattle, and it's just interesting the fact that Prestinni had some really good moments at times when I think it was actually when Loony was on the team in like stage 2 around then. Prestinni actually had some great moments. Since then, when they've swapped out these SMG duos, they've never got anything to work on a consistent basis for Seattle. And here Prestinni has a 0.64, has a pretty woeful series. Classic as well with nothing spectacular. I mean, better than the 0.57 he had last time, but still, it's Classic's first 3 series, 0.7, 0.57, 0.87, not exactly great. Octane had a great series, at least statistically, right? I mean, you can look at things from other angles, but it seemed like it was playing relatively well. I mean, it was at least shooting straight. You can certainly argue that. But yeah, again, it's the SMG duo that we've talked about all season long. Like, if anything, would Seattle be better bringing Loony back in? I don't think they would do that, right? But I mean, you know, you've got to think about it. The fact that the best version of Seattle Surge we saw was actually with Loony in the squad, which is kind of a scary thing given how poor they were at the time. But yeah, Seattle continue on their run in the lower bracket. And of course, they don't still have a 0% chance. I had a couple of people asking me when are Seattle officially eliminated from the World Championship. It's not going to happen yet because if you win all 5 series, let's just say for stage 5, if you win all 5 series in groups and then you win the major, you get 125 points. 50 points for the winning the 5 series. Then if you win the major, I'm pretty sure you get 75. So 125 points is a lot, and that can jump you up a long way. So mathematically, they won't be eliminated for quite a while, but realistically, there's no chance these guys make the World Championship. But intrigued your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. If you enjoyed this content, other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.